Mary, good morning. Thanks for joining us. How long have you had those tickets?
Dan, it's so good to hear your voice. Talking to you again is really nice. But we've had those seats since the Dugout Club was built in 2000. We've been Dodger fans for a lot longer than that, but we've had those seats since the beginning of the Dugout Club.
Does Larry offer you any food? It feels like he's always eating during the game.
The funny thing is, Larry never does eat much of anything, but I'm going to tell him you said that.
Yeah.
That's very
No,
he doesn't. He doesn't share. He will not share. I get popcorn for him.
Oh, okay. It always feels like he's eating something. So now you're the culprit, so I'll blame you. What do you hear behind home plate?
Last night was remarkable. This fan, the fans last night at Dodger Stadium were better than they have ever been, and we have sat through a lot of playoff games, and my husband and son and I were just down in Houston for all three of those games. We were in Chicago before that, and we were in Phoenix when we clinched. Chicago at Wrigley can be deafening, and there is nothing like Minute Maid Park. It is so overwhelmingly deafening there that it's you just want to get out because you feel like we got to go home. We got to get this team home. They can't hear each other. Last night at Dodger Stadium, I think we outdid all of them.
You're more excited about the Dodgers than you are anything else, aren't you?
You know what, Dan? It has been so much fun to follow them, to get to know them. I mean, it's not like I ever envisioned that the next chapter of my life would be to be a Dodger fan. But, it's kind of turned out that way with October ball in particular. But it's really a remarkable game, and it's one I know you know everything there is to know about sports. I have really come to appreciate the strategy, what the managers, what Dave Roberts, who is such a terrific guy, is trying to do with the team, and when everybody gets on him for pulling Rich Hill out last week after the third inning, and last night leaving him in, and how gut-wrenching those decisions are, because you're not going to make the right decisions all the time, but there's a strategy there. I love the strategy of, okay, is Chris Taylor going to bunt? Or is he going to swing at the ball? Like last night. Oh, my gosh, it was a game-saving double. So all of that stuff is fascinating to me. And I love watching right behind the umpire, like we said. And I can really judge pretty well whether it's a ball or a strike. And, they just don't always get it right.
Who are the other celebrities around you?
Oh, I'm trying to think. Larry, we've had a lot of different people. Jason Bateman sits down there. He is a diehard Dodger fan. Mm-hmm. And Arsenio Hall was there the other night. George Lopez, these are buddies of ours, have sat with us and sat in the area there too. But from time to time, Tom Hanks will appear, but usually up in the suites. I like being right on the field. It's just so fun to feel like you're part of the game.
She's Mary Hart, former Entertainment Tonight host. How often do you hear the following every day? Seton? Is that your ringtone on your phone, Mare?
It is not.
Okay.
I heard that for enough years. That's so funny, Dan. But I will tell you that even going to Wrigley Field, and Houston, so many of the Astros fans, the Cubbies fans, it was brutal a year ago when we lost to the Cubs. It was so incredible this year because they'd come up and say, Mary, we know what a loyal fan is. My mom, we watched you growing up, and it's so great to see you become such a baseball fan, and we're going to root for the Dodgers in the World Series. Knock them dead. I heard that from hundreds
That's great.
of people listening.
But
yes.
I have to. But
it really is.
If you walk down the street, do you hear the...
Ooh, you really do that well.
Thank you. I've been practicing, Mare.
Really good.
I've been practicing.
I do. I still hear that.
It's a great compliment. It's a great compliment. Is there, what do you miss the most about hosting Entertainment Tonight?
What I miss the most is my friends there. Doing it for almost 30 years, I kind of was over covering all of the celebrity news, but I had developed so many friendships, and I was hearing from so many of my fellow ET workers last night. I was reading emails and texts last night like crazy because so many of them are sports fans and Dodger fans specifically. Many of them even worked, whether it was at Fox Sports or ESPN. So, they're really knowledgeable about baseball, too. And, I love it. So I miss my friends the most. I will say it took me a good year to get used to the fact that I was waking up at the same time, which is always very early, and going, what am I going to do today? I'm not heading over the hill to the Radford studio. That's a very strange sensation when you leave something you have done for so many years.
Aren't you glad you don't have to cover the Kardashians, though, Mary?
Very. Very glad. Yep.
What was the craziest story you covered in Entertainment Tonight?
Oh, gosh. The craziest story? I think that, Anna Nicole Smith, craziest story.
Yeah.
And, that was something Mark Stein fortunately, he had to fly down to the Bahamas and cover all of that. There have been so many great ones, so many sad ones. When I got to take the emails and letters to Richard Pryor as he was fading away from this life, it was so emotional. And I had disliked him intensely early on in his and my career because I had the great misfortune, I should say, of interviewing him when he was doing a lot of drugs. And I interviewed him early in the morning. He was so foul. But then I got to know him. My husband had produced a series of specials with him, knew him well. And when he got ill, and we talked honestly about how mean he had been, we really bonded. And as strange as it sounds, he became the most powerful interview that was sustained during the last year of his life because I kept going back and we would weep together and we would laugh together. And I ended up at his memorial service doing the video for his memorial. And I will never, ever forget that. It was very moving.
Will you cry tonight if the Dodgers win, Mary Hart?
I think I'm going to cry when we win. And I'm not even thinking of the option. I think I might. I am so emotional. I got up. I woke up at 5 this morning, and I've just been lying in bed thinking, I can't wait. It's the first World Series Game 7 we've ever had at Chavez Ravine. How exciting is that?
We'll be looking for you tonight, Mary. And keep in mind, we're watching what you're eating, you and Larry.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary.
I think my butterflies are too strong to be eating, Dan. It's great to talk to you. Go Dodgers.
All right. That's Mary Hart.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.